A Twitter friend turned me on to this, the M4's The Hobbit book edit. Now, before we get going, I'm going to say I actually don't mind the Hobbit films. Are they the Lord of the Rings trilogy? No. Once you learn what happened behind the scenes and the other stuff, and then there was the Guillermo del Toro thing and lots of drama and studio interference, and then New Line screwing over Peter Jackson a little, it all makes sense now, and even Peter Jackson says that they're not his best work, but I can definitely appreciate them a lot more now, especially after the Rings of Power. But that's a whole different video. Watch my videos, by the way. So, what is this? This is an edit of the Hobbit trilogy, namely the extended versions that includes deleted scenes, into one cohesive movie. It's very long, and I've put a link to that in the description if you guys are interested. The official website's got all the information there, you can read about it. This is a beautifully done thing, and the project was started in 2019, and it's obviously been a labour of love. They have been more faithful to the Hobbit novel, but still very much feels like Peter Jackson's film. It focuses solely on the main quest, and it gets rid of the side plots and side characters, and also gets rid of the references to the Lord of the Rings films that aren't needed, that were put in by the studio. The tone is more cohesive between the films, and I want to say that the editing and audio transitions and the sound mix, you wouldn't know this wasn't a studio picture. It's really well done, and it's beautiful. So they've sourced The Unexpected Journey. They've used around 1 hour 30 minutes of it. They've used 1 hour 12 minutes of film 2 and about 1 hour 10 minutes of film 3. They've also used the soundtrack. They've reorchestrated parts of it, and they've also used some appendies and visual sources and some own self-recorded sound effects and free sound effects that he's used. And the runtime is 4 hours 5 minutes. 50% of the original 8 hour 19 minutes has been cut. One of the big changes I noticed in this is the visuals. There is added film grain, and I know that sounds like a weird thing. The original films had this very artificial look, which is very common now, partly because of digital techniques, but the actual film grain really adds so much. I'm not going to go into all the changes because we will be here for several hours, but he's also recolour timed the movie to get rid of the kind of orangey glow that this film has a lot of the time. And they've also trimmed scenes down, edited scenes, and so on. They've really done a stunning job, to the point that I'm gutted this isn't actually an official movie. They've also tweaked it so some of the dodgy CGI seems to look a little better, and they've also added numerous other things. They've also given a lot more focus to this story, and it just actually feels more epic. And it's really well done. They've also, he's using newly altered digital shots to create some stuff for this film, and actually you wouldn't know they were newly created special effects for this. I'm genuinely surprised. The list of changes is huge. Overall, it flows so much better. The story is stronger, the way that it fits is better. And without the subplots and weird side characters and weird tangents and Lord of the Rings stuff the studio mandated Peter Jackson include, it's a far superior movie. It's stunning. And I mean that. The characters, because I always say this about the Hobbit films, for everything they got wrong, I love the cast. I think the casting was just genius in this film, and it shows. Great character moments, great actors on screen, let down by a studio that was interfering throughout the entire process, and very much not the films that were originally going to be made. I talked about this in another video, where I say that Guillermo del Toro's vision was going to be a story read to in Peter Jackson style, Here and Back Again, read to a group of kids, maybe young hobbits or young elves or something, and you would see a more Guillermo del Toro style take on Middle-earth presented through the imagination of a child. And some of his designs are actually still within the film, and he's actually credited within the film for that reason. And it's a real shame we never got those films at all, and I've said films way too many times. This is a stunning edit. that not only just represents the book, but it also fixes so many problems. The Hobbit films do feel very bloated. And again, studio interference and the shoehorned in Lord of the Rings stuff just disconnected from the whole project. This guy has done a beautiful job. You wouldn't know this was a fan project. The editing is beautiful, the score is stunning, the added special effects look really well, the overall read, colour timing, and other stuff that he's done to this film looks spectacular. And it creates this beautiful, cohesive film that, like I said at the start, I'm really sad it's not an official project. Beautifully edited, beautifully pulled together. And it really does show the actors as well. It really brings the stronger actors out on screen, because a lot of the time with the subplots, they were literally there because studio wanted them, not because Peter Jackson wanted them. And it shows. And as I said, I do actually like the Hobbit films. I do enjoy them for what they are. But I appreciate them a lot more knowing what's happened with the Rings of Power. And despite what my haters keep saying, yes, it does borrow very heavily from Game of Thrones, because it doesn't feel like anything we've ever seen. And that's not a compliment. This is, honestly, I could gush over this for 2 hours, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to tell you, follow the links, read about it, do whatever you want on that website, because that will have everything you need there. It's a beautiful film, beautifully done, and just an epic take on, not mediocre, that's the wrong word, because they're not mediocre films. A very tired Peter Jackson, who was not overly treated very well by the studio, but overall just a brilliant take on them. So go follow the links, enjoy this, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below.